Hi guys, welcome to Career Goals with T. Once again, we're still in the topic of high unemployment in South Africa and continuing. If you haven't watched my previous video, please do so and understand the context of why we are doing these videos. But continuing with what I've mentioned in the previous video, I went on and researched what are the best sectors for job growth in South Africa currently. So in South Africa, there are sectors showing the strongest potential for job growth in 2026. These are driven by the green transition, digital transformation, and essential services like healthcare and logistics. So number one, green economy and renewable energy. This is currently the most significant sunrise sector due to the notorious shift away from coal. The core logic here is that renewable energy projects like solar and wind are more labor intensive per unit of power than fossil fuels. The high demand roles are solar energy technicians, wind turbine service technicians, and sustainability officers. I will be covering all the jobs that are mentioned here, what's required and all of that, only after I'm done with the research and all of that. For now, I'll just be mentioning it. So if you are interested, please go do your research and see where other companies or which companies are hiring for those roles, and you can perhaps position yourself and apply for those roles, and maybe that's where your luck is and your stability and growth is. Impact here, investing in renewables could create 50% more jobs than equivalent fossil fuel projects. And number two, the digital economy and ICT. Technology remains a primary driver as business continue to automate and move services online. The core logic here is persistent skills shortage in technical fields mean high availability for those with even basic digital fluency. High demand roles, software developers, data analysts, cybersecurity specialists, and digital marketing experts. I've mentioned some of the sites, the websites that you could use for your short online courses. Please do check out my previous videos on those. Emerging trend, AI related roles, AI ethics, machine learning are becoming foundational across all corporate functions. Number three is logistics and supply chain. The explosion of e-commerce and South Africa's role as a regional trade hub have made this sector essential. Core logic, as online shopping grows, so does the need for complex distribution networks and warehousing. Some of the high demand roles are supply chain managers, logistics coordinators, and warehouse operations specialists. Please do check that out as well. Number four is the healthcare and wellness sector. Here, this is driven by the aging population and the expansion of private and digital health solutions. The core logic is healthcare is future-proof because it resists automation in critical care and requires human empathy. High demand roles, registered nurses, especially in critical care, healthcare administrators, and telehealth practitioners. Number five, agriculture and agri-processing. Agriculture remains a vital employer, particularly in rural areas, which with a high multiplier effect. Core logic here, for every one new job in agriculture, roughly 7 additional jobs are created in other parts of the economy. High demand roles are climate smart farmers, food processing workers, and agricultural engineers. So please do check those out if you want to position yourself in relevant sectors and land yourself a job that will be highly sustainable. And then I went on to find out that where are we now as a country and what would it take to get us to a high employment country. So as of February 2026, South Africa is in a phase of fragile stabilization. While key indicators like electricity availability and inflation have improved, the country remains the world's most unemployed nation. Where are we now? Q1 2026. Unemployment rate. The official rate recently dipped to 31.4%, which is from the quarter 4 2025. Its lowest since 2020. However, the combined rate, including discouraged seekers, remains a staggering 42%. Economic growth. The GDP growth is currently stuck in a low gear recovery, projected at roughly 1.4 to 1.5% for 2026. The energy turnaround. A major positive is the suspension of load shedding throughout late 2025 and early 2026, driven by improved maintenance and a massive surge in private solar power. Yes, yona load shedding has improved kancane, but isakhona iphelanga completely. Isakhona, especially in my area. Isakhona, please. Then political context. The government of National Unity, GNU, has boosted investor confidence, leading to a recent sovereign credit rating upgrade by S&P Global. I don't even know what that means, but apparently it's good news. So what it takes to reach high employment. Move from 3% unemployment to high employment, typically considered below 10%. South Africa needs more than just gradual improvement. It requires a structural overhaul. The 3% growth threshold. Economists and National Treasury agree that South Africa needs sustained GDP growth of at least 3% to 5% to actually reduce the unemployment queue. The gap here, currently growth is 1.5%, is barely enough to keep up with the new people entering the job market every year. Then, secondly, the aggressive implementation of Operation Vulindlela. This is government's current engine room for reform. To reach high employment, the focus must shift from planning to implementation at scale. For logistics, fixing transport rails and port bottlenecks is critical for exporters, mining and agriculture, and to hire more people. Digital, lowering data cost and expanding broadband to unlock the gig economy and remote work. The remote work, oh, of course. I know we all want remote jobs, but it's so hard to get in nowadays because the internet, number one, is one of the challenges or one of the things that hinders us from getting in. I know for myself, I'm using Vodacom and my speed is just so low, I keep getting rejected. Number 3, fixing the skills job mismatch. The problem is that South Africa has an oversupply of unskilled labor, but an undersupply of technical skills like your artisans, engineers, coders, as I've mentioned in my previous video. The fix here would be to align TVET colleges and university curricula directly with the needs of the green economy and tech sectors. And then number 4, small businesses, SME explosion. The logic in healthy economies, small businesses provide 60 to 70% of jobs. In SA, they are crushed by high red tape and rigid labor laws. The fix here is drastic deregulation for firms with fewer than 50 employees and reforming collective bargaining agreements that make it too expensive for small shops to hire. Then lastly is the massive infrastructure spend. The government has committed over 940 billion to infrastructure over the next 3 years for roads, water, and energy. These are job-intensive projects that can absorb semi-skilled labor quickly while building the foundation for future growth. So that is where we are, and that is what it would take for us to get into a high-employed country. So I don't know who's going to make these changes, and I hope they make them soon, because amongst many challenges that we are facing, I think if we could combat unemployment, crime would drastically be reduced. I don't know if it is in the best interest of the government to make these changes. I'm just here to educate myself and educate whoever is listening. Hopefully I get to ask this question to relevant people and get the answers I'm looking for. But for now, I will just keep trying to find answers online and share those answers with you guys. Next videos, I'll be uncovering what can an ordinary South African do while we're waiting for the big change. Please do stay tuned. I hope you are subscribed and like and share my videos so that we can all get educated and informed about current affairs, especially unemployment in South Africa.